On December 16, 2023, the founder of Chinese AI company SenseTime suddenly died. Called the father of Chinese AI, Tang Xiao-ou was a tech superstar, and his death at age 55 was shocking. 3 versions of the cause of his death were circulating. The first was his company's official announcement, stating that Tang died from an incurable illness. The second version came from Chinese media reports, saying that Tang died peacefully in his sleep. The most disturbing was a rumor claiming that Tang jumped from a tall building. Which of the 3 was the closest to the truth? And what stories lie behind his quick rise and dramatic fall? Hello, I'm Lei. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. Tang Xiao-ou came to the University of Rochester in New York for graduate study after graduating from the University of Science and Technology of China. 1 year later, he was admitted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After obtaining his PhD from MIT, he began teaching at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. In 2001, he founded the Multimedia Lab at the school. From 2005 to 2007, he worked at Microsoft Research Asia as the head of its computer vision group. Tang also participated in the CCP's 1,000 Talents Plan, a program launched by Beijing to recruit accomplished scholars and researchers working overseas, with the goal to bring their expertise and innovation back to China. Tang's research focus was computer vision, a hot topic in AI. In 2014, Tang Xiao-ou announced that the facial recognition algorithm developed by his team in Hong Kong had an accuracy rate exceeding that of the human eye. The LFW and FDDB databases are global facial recognition databases. The accuracy of facial recognition on LFW photos could reach 97.53%. Tang's facial recognition algorithm achieved an accuracy rate of 99.55%, surpassing the human eyes. With this accomplishment, he established SenseTime and undertook a secret mission, which propelled his rise and dictated his fall. In October 2016, South Korean Go master Lee Sedol played against Google's artificial intelligence AlphaGo. After 4 hours, AI announced its victory over Lee. This was a turning moment for the AI industry because a Go match was far more complex than chess, and people had not expected AI to win. Suddenly, AI became major headline news, and SenseTime, Tang's company, became a sought-after property. Investors were bullish on Tang's facial recognition technology. He solicited funding with the goal of taking the company public. By 2018, he completed Series D financing, raising $2.6 billion globally, with much of it coming from investment giants in the United States and Japan, such as Qualcomm, Sequoia Capital, and SoftBank Group. The government of the United Arab Emirates also invested in him. Chinese companies like Tencent and Alibaba seized the opportunity too. SenseTime's valuation reached $6 billion, making it a highly valuable unicorn company in China. Tang's reputation soared. Chinese media called him the father of Chinese AI. During a speech at MIT in 2018, he jokingly said that in the future, when talking about AI, people will think of SenseTime first and not Google. In 2019, SenseTime actively prepared for its IPO. However, its IPO filing shocked investors. People suddenly discovered that SenseTime's core business was Chinese Communist Party's surveillance system, Skynet, and this was the secret mission Tang had embarked on. Skynet is the largest video surveillance system in the world. By 2020, more than 626 million surveillance cameras have been installed in over 500 cities across China. The massive cameras record every move Chinese citizens make in public, and the data is sent to Skynet. SenseTime's facial recognition technology is the backbone of the Skynet system. After SenseTime's connection to Skynet became public, the New York Times published an article. It stated that in the western Xinjiang region, where many Uyghurs live, there's a massive surveillance system that not only includes video surveillance, but also uses DNA to track Uyghurs, and SenseTime is one of the providers of this system. The article made SenseTime's international investors nervous. Then other bigger troubles followed. First, the U.S. government began taking a more severe stance on China's 1,000 Talents program, which Tom participated in. Secondly, before the last round of financing for SenseTime's IPO in 2021, Washington labeled SenseTime as a Chinese military enterprise, putting it on the investment blacklist and prohibiting U.S. companies from selling chips to it. With the aura of the father of Chinese AI, Tang shone brightly in China, with many Chinese believe that his company would one day replace Google. Chinese capital thus filled the vacancy left by wary foreign investors. At the end of 2021, SenseTime went with its IPO in Hong Kong. Its price rose from 3.85 Hong Kong dollars to $9 per share, with a market value that soared to 320 billion Hong Kong dollars. Although everything looked good, Tang Xiao-ou's anxiety was only getting worse deep inside. SenseTime is not a hardcore AI tech company. Its technology touches only a part of computer vision, and it relies on American chips. Now let's look at a diagram of human vision. Light passes through the pupil, enters the retina at the back of the eye, where cone and rod cells on the retina translate the image into brain waves. These waves are then transmitted through the optic nerve to the visual center of the brain, where the image is reflected. At this point, one may think he sees something, but it's not his eyes that see, it's his brain that sees the image. During the imaging process, the eyes play the role of a front-end camera, but the vision is processed in the brain. AI vision mimics the same human process. After the camera captures the image, the brain must analyze it in order to recognize it. The AI brain of computer vision is called a graphic processing unit, or GPU. All the data captured by over 600 million cameras in China must enter the GPU for processing to become useful information. China doesn't produce GPUs. SenseTime's facial recognition algorithm is not the brain. It's only the equivalent of the retina behind the eye. A GPU is needed to form an AI vision system. There are 6 companies in the world that design and manufacture GPUs, with 4 being in the United States and 2 in the United Kingdom. SenseTime uses NVIDIA's GPU chips. It has established Asia's largest data center called the Shanghai Lingang AI Data Center. However, due to the restrictions imposed by the U.S. government, its GPUs won't be upgraded, and if they fail, they can be replaced. This means that SenseTime's AI vision system will be missing its brain sooner or later. As the Chinese regime's financial pressure was increasing year over year, the money it invested in SenseTime was decreasing. The company was losing its major source of revenue, and expenses were high. It employed over 5,000 people, 70% of them were in research, and the salaries of SenseTime's senior management were in 8 digits Chinese yuan. What's more tragic is that besides the Skynet system, SenseTime had no other marketable products. The company had no alternative ways to make money and reached a financial dead end. 6 months after its IPO, SenseTime's stock price plunged by half after a lock-in period for pre-IPO investors ended. Smart investors had already sensed the problem and cashed out early. In November 2023, SenseTime's shares plummeted again after a short seller, Grizzly Research, accused the company of artificially inflating its revenues by financing companies that in turn fed business to SenseTime. By early December 2023, SenseTime's stock price had plummeted to about 1.3 Hong Kong dollars, only a third of its IPO price. Then on December 15th, news came out that its 55-year-old founder, Tang Xiao-ou, had died. People speculated the cause of his death. Tang Xiao-ou was very talented, but he used his talent to help the CCP build the most elaborate surveillance system, which not only brought the Chinese people countless miseries, but also caused himself the trust he needed from the outside world to build his company. So whether he died from illness or committed suicide is actually just a moot point. In hindsight, had he not started SenseTime, he might still be making breakthroughs in AI today. Sometimes non-action is the wisest choice, as advised by the sage Lao Tzu. Please subscribe for more, and thank you very much for watching. That's all for today. See you next time.